Hundreds of people in Portland sent a message to ICE to leave their city by riding their bikes naked through the rain. And you're not going to believe this, it didn't work.
Yes. Well, the membership in the Democrat Party in 2025 is in and of itself an identifiable mental illness, which might be a little sad, but sometimes it's kind of funny, too. Unintentionally, of course, as they so often are. That is to say, unintentionally funny. And a very good Monday to you. I hope you enjoyed the No Kings rally. I saw in the media today, the organizers said there were 7 million protesters. And the media says there were 7 million protesters. I think they're getting their information from Hamas, though. It's like the Hamas body count. How many of them were children? Here, the funny thing is, you see, have you noticed this? All the protesters, the No Kings protesters, they're all white people. They're all white. They're Caucasian people. European Caucasoids. And they're all at least baby boomers, baby boomers and older, and they all have white hair. They've all got white hair. They're all old white liberals, and they're out there chanting bizarro things and Trump and kings and all this crazy stuff, apparently unaware of the fact that we, the United States of America, we're the original, the OGs when it comes to getting rid of the king. And you know who? That's us. We're the United States of America, and we Americans, true Americans, red, white, and blue Americans, red-blooded Americans, we are the people that, we've been protecting and defending the No Kings regime since about 1776. It dragged on for a while, but we've been at it for quite some time now. And the Democrats, they've been against us pretty much the whole time. They're against us. You know who is really for No Kings? No Kings? The Tea Party. The Tea Party groups. Tea Party groups very much, because that Tea Party that goes back to the Boston Tea Party and the British and their taxes, and a bunch of guys went down dressed up as Indians and threw stuff in the water, and it was all kinds of good stuff. The Tea Party, and then just not so many years ago, conservatives started these Tea Party groups, and then the fascists, Democrat, it was the Barack Hussein Obama regime, who used the IRS, ironically, Tea Party, and then that was about taxation, right? And the Democrats under Obama used the IRS, the taxation people, against the Tea Party people, because that's they have no sense of irony. These people, we are the No Kings people, America. That's us, not you, stupid. And you know what you see what they're called? I was texting with my friend Maureen this morning. You know what they're calling these protesters? They got a nickname for these protesters. You know what it is? It's the Q-tips. The Q-tips. Have you heard this? You said? Yeah, Q-tips, because they're old, skinny, white people with white hair. They're like they're liberals, and they're like Q-tips. If you're putting out an all-points bulletin with the police, look no further than the Q-tips description for the protesters, the liberal crazy protesters, and there's some violence, and they got famous people. I'm not sure, is John Cusack famous? He was famous for a while. He did that Grosse Pointe Blank movie. That was kind of a fun movie. He did a number of fun movies, actually. And my mother knew John Cusack when he was a child actor in Chicago. My mother was working for an agency, a talent agency, John Cusack. But we'll get to that. I've got some audio for you of John Cusack. He was at the rally in Chicago, the No Kings rally, not knowing what it's about, not knowing what these words mean. He's become a left-wing crazy person. Maybe he always was, but he's certainly a left-wing crazy person now. We've got a lot for you on this No Kings rally. How many in Washington D.C. that they love to say they make up numbers? There were 1 million of us. There were 400,000 of us. No, there weren't. There were like 80 of you. And you're all wearing diapers. What are you doing? And you got the Q-tips thing going. What is up with you people? But we've got some crazy, and then there were a couple of young people there. In fact, I've got, where was that young guy where he says, he's asked, was that Chicago? Denver. Oh, that was Denver. Got this guy in Denver, and he's out there protesting against Trump. And then somebody, it's like Goodfellas, somebody asked the wrong question. Somebody asked the wrong question, and it's funny. I've got that one for you. Also, across the country, because the violent mob of glassy-eyed zombies that are the Democrat Party and all of the people that they've brainwashed on college campuses, high school campuses. They've got, grammar school with the transgender street hookers twerking the first graders in class because the Democrat Party. Oh, I've got a big update on that, too, as a matter of fact. But we've got that going on. And here's a story from Town Hall. 200 U.S. Capitol police officers secured the No Kings rally for no pay, because the Democrats have shut down the government, and they've made sure that as many people as possible are not being paid, and that's they're truly mental. So the U.S. Capitol police officers, hundreds, out there securing these demented, glassy-eyed zombies, and for the No Kings rally, no kidding, call it the No Kidding rally, you morons! What a bunch of maroons! But they said that the police are out there and they're protecting these idiots. Good news is they didn't burn the Capitol, which was a distinct possibility. There are no fires on January 6th, just Ashley Babbitt being shot. Fire coming out of the pistol of Lieutenant Byrd's pistol. That's it, the barrel of his pistol. That's it. But now 200, I wonder if Byrd was there and whether he shot anybody, and they're just not talking about it. Because Lieutenant Byrd, he likes shooting people when they allegedly trespass, and he kills them. One shot, one kill, point-blank range. So we got that. But the U.S. Capitol Police by the hundreds out there protecting the glassy-eyed zombie apocalypse for no pay at all because Schumer and the Democrats have shut the government down, and that's who they are and what they do. Isn't that amazing? President Trump, of course, talking to the press, and he was asked, I believe this was aboard Air Force One, Trump skewers whacked out No Kings protesters. I'm not a king. I work my ass off. That's the headline, and that's what Trump said. He's like, well, I'm a king? I mean, come on. Look, I work like 100 hours a day. How much does King Charles work, for Pete's sake? So we got that. Also, I don't know if you saw this. President Trump went down to Florida over the weekend, to Palm Beach, where he owns a very, very, very expensive estate. And the Democrats have lied about that. They've even lied about that, haven't they? Have got that. But he went down to Florida. And you may remember there was a guy, a Democrat, with a rifle creeping along the hedgerow alongside his golf course in West Palm Beach. And he was planning on assassinating him. And he was in court last week, and the news media completely ignores it because it's not a story they want to emphasize. There are lies of commission and lies of omission. It's the Democrat Party. But also in Palm Beach over the weekend, it turns out the Secret Service discovered in the woods, President Trump goes aboard Air Force One typically, in and out of Palm Beach, Florida, from Washington, D.C. usually. And the police, the Secret Service, they discovered a hunting stand. The kind a deer hunter might put up high in a tree. But this hunting stand gave the person a line of sight to President Trump where he boards Air Force One in Florida. And now the FBI is investigating the hunting stand with the line of sight to Trump's Air Force One exit. And it gives you a line of sight right to where the president gets off of Air Force One, the big 747. And police say, hey, that could be suspicious. So now the Secret Service finds the hunting stand near Trump's Air Force One, and the FBI is investigating, and I'm sure the Secret Service is as well. Secret Service agents found a suspicious elevated stand. Sure, during advanced security preparations before Trump's arrival. Good job, good job. The U.S. Secret Service uncovered a suspicious hunting stand with a direct line of sight where President Donald Trump exits Air Force One at the Palm Beach International Airport. Officials told Fox News Digital. Agents found the stand on Thursday, and the FBI is now leading an investigation into the discovery. FBI Director Kash Patel said the hunting stand has not yet been connected to any individual, but they're pretty sure that an individual is involved. You know, we don't have the specific person, but we've got that going for us. And also, when the president was boarding Air Force One in Florida yesterday, they used the Joe Biden stairs because of the heightened security threat. And, the Joe Biden stairs are for, like, the Tardos, where It's the lower, it comes out of the belly of the airplane. You don't have the big old-fashioned stairs going up to the upstairs door, but instead you pull the flap down like the luggage door on the belly of the 747, and it's got little steps there, and you walk up into the plane, and then you're in the belly of the plane, and you have to go up the stairs inside the airplane to get upstairs in the plane. But they used the lower stairs, the lower airplane stairs, because of the new security threat, because of Democrats, because Democrats are violent, criminally insane, glassy-eyed, bloodthirsty, murderous ghouls, and we just call them Democrats. You know, they're like that. Also, the federal government shutdown that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have inflicted upon the world. Federal government shutdown on Monday marks third longest government shutdown in U.S. history. I believe we're day 20 today. And the news media lies about it every time they talk about it. They lie and they lie and they lie. They're quite amazing. So we've got that going, and that's Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats entirely. Speaking of communists who hate America, there's Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani, have you seen this one? And he's come up a couple of times over the weekend because he's a communist and a jihadi. He's a jihadi. You can say jihadist if you want, if it rhymes better with communist, jihadist. We got all that. But Mamdani appears, here's a new photo has emerged of Mamdani, the Democrat future communist jihad governor, mayor of New York. Then he'll become governor because Democrats do it that way. But Mamdani, Zohran Mamdani, appears smiling arm in arm with a notorious imam whose name is Siraj Wahhaj. Siraj Wahhaj. They should make that a rap song. That could be a rap song. Siraj Wahhaj. He is best known as being an unindicted co-conspirator in the al-Qaeda attack on the World Trade Center in 1993 when they put, naturally, a rented truck down in the underground parking garage loaded with explosives in one corner of one of the two twin towers of the World Trade Center. And the idea was to blow the corner out of one tower. The first tower would fall into the second tower and kill everybody. The Islamists got back to that in 2001. But in 1993, the pal of Mamdani, Siraj Wahhaj, he was all tied up in the unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. And here's the Democrat posing with him, and they're naked in a hot tub, rubbing each other down. It's kind of a weird picture. All right, I just made the last part up. They're not naked in a hot tub, rubbing each other down, but they are. The big smile look like they're at somebody's wedding instead of a murder, after a kidnapping. But that's your thing. Just amazing. Also out of England, terrible. Islamists who are taking over England, by the way. And there's a great war coming to the world, taking over Canada, taking over France. And you see the Prime Minister of Italy spoke up over the weekend. She's having none of it. She's great. But here's the headline from the Jerusalem Post. Islamists celebrate as Jews restricted from UK soccer match. You remember that old saying, never again? They said never again. After the Holocaust, there was this bumper sticker, never again. Never going to allow that to happen again. It turns out in the fine print below never again, it said until 2025. Till 2020, and then again. Then what we have is again. And yeah, the jihad against civilization is gaining steam. It's not petering out, if you will, but it's gaining steam. Isn't that amazing? So we've got that. Also, you may have noticed already, Amazon, a big shutdown at Amazon this morning that shut down the entire internet world, apparently. And you can't, if your internet's not working for you, it's because of an Amazon shutdown, and almost everything is shut down all at once. It's crazy. I've got amazing scientific updates for you today about peanut allergies. I've got a huge update on peanut allergies and a gigantic update on transgenderism on college campuses. Well, you hear this stuff. The Democrats call it transgenderism because they've got a lot of sexual issues, all the Democrats do, especially with children. Ideally, underage people are their favorites, just like their friend Jeffrey Epstein, who they love so much. But I've got an update for you that is really something. The Democrats should be alarmed because their base may never be the same. And a giant jewel theft, a theft of jewelry from the Louvre. That's a museum in Paris. It used to be a king's palace and a queen's palace, like all the good buildings in Europe. But never mind that. French police hunt Louvre jewel thieves. And this is like a Hollywood movie. It really is. It's a crazy story. And I look forward to sharing that with you. We are at 888-630-9625.
I like to be close to the children.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I've got good news on peanuts and good news on transgenderism. And both because Democrats' war on science is lunacy. But before we start getting into all the big news stories of the day and the No Kings BS, let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Charlie calling from Deland, Florida. Charlie, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Mr. Plant, happy Monday. It's a beautiful day down here in Florida.
Excellent.
So over the weekend,
yeah,
Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted out, because of the government shutdown, they haven't been spraying the skies. We have crystal clear blue skies, and it's been about 3 weeks. And it dawned on me the other day, maybe it's the government shutdown. And lo and behold, Senator, she tweeted out saying that because of the government shutdown, we're not funding the spraying and the weather manipulation that they've been doing for years.
The weather manipulation. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman, House member, Marjorie Taylor Greene has a Twitter account, and I went and I found it. And she wrote, one good thing to come from this government shutdown. Clear skies, she says in all capital letters. No taxpayer-funded weather modification experiments Americans never asked for. My Clear Skies Act will ban geoengineering and weather modification. No more spraying chemicals in our skies. It's time to end this dangerous and unregulated practice. That must be the thing that you're talking about there. Am I right?
Yes, sir. I don't have Twitter. I saw it on Fox News. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It's, for years, I go out walking my dog every morning. For years, I look up at the sky. They're always trying to cover the sun. And in the clouds, down here in Florida, it seems like that stuff gets caught up in the jet stream.
Oh, science is making your phone skip out on me, I got to tell you. I blame the Democrat Party. Now, you're saying that you believe that the government is spraying stuff in our air to affect the weather.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Before Asheville, North Carolina, before that horrible weather event that they had there, they sprayed for days before that.
Well, holy cow! All right, I want to get to these people like the opposite of the Tea Party, right? Opposite of the Tea Party people. No kings, no kidding. My response is no kidding. Since we kicked out King George in 1776, we were the first ones to do it. Became trendy in Europe after we did it. Aren't you people amazing? And we are the no kings people. We're the United States of America. Now, what was I just telling you the clear skies, and we were talking to Charlie from Florida because Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene said, good thing to come from the government shutdown, clear skies. No taxpayer-funded weather modification experiments Americans never asked for, is what Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on X, which we also call Twitter. My Clear Skies Act will ban geoengineering and weather modification. No more spraying chemicals in our skies. It's time to end this dangerous and unregulated practice. Nothing is unregulated, but okay. And Charlie said, well, yeah, the government's spraying stuff in our in our skies. And before the big hurricane hit the Carolinas, the government was up there spraying stuff. And I honestly don't know anything about that, but I've heard about this, and I know somebody, my best girl and I, we know somebody who subscribes to this government spraying stuff in the sky from big airplanes, and it changes the weather and all that. And then they come to us and tell us, hey, the weather is changing, right? And what this speaks to, and Michael Piercy and I had a brief conversation just after we hung up with Charlie because our clock ran out on us. Didn't mean to shortchange you, Charlie. But what this speaks to is the total collapse in trust of our government institutions, our government departments and agencies, our government leaders, our permanent bureaucracy. We've reached the point where otherwise level-headed Americans will look in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, and say, well, those are contrails with jet engines burning up moisture in the air, leaving moisture streams behind them that look like white clouds. And we have reached a point in the United States of America where so many people distrust our own government that perfectly reasonable adult people who make their way in the world and raise families and build businesses are going to say, oh, yeah, the government's doing this. Our government is doing this to us and creating hurricanes in the Carolinas and lying to us about it because they're using us for experimentation, probably because of the Davos crowd and the usual cast of characters. All right, so we got that. Now, I personally, no offense, Charlie, everybody gets to believe what you want to believe, and an awful lot of people turn out to be right later on when they're called conspiracy theorists today, and then 6 months from now, the government says, oh, yeah, well, actually, we have been doing that for 30 years, and here's what, and it's worked. Then they'll tell you it's worked. So I don't, and you can't count anything out. But what Michael and I discussed after talking to Charlie was the total lack of trust in our government and our government institutions. What a huge part of what that is, such a huge part of everything that we believe and don't believe in the United States of America anymore. Speaking of which, let me go to Peanuts, because not the cartoon, but the actual nuts, like Jimmy Carter Peanuts. And there is this story, and I'm not sure, I didn't see it till today, truth be told. But here is the headline from the Associated Press, AP News. New study, and listen to this. It's science, because they have a new study. New study shows 60,000 kids have been spared peanut allergies. How did that happen? How is that possible? By feeding them what? By feeding, Jasmine, what should we feed them to avoid? You shield peanuts. And it turns out that's the correct answer. Jasmine is under glass. We have to keep her under glass because of the germs and everything. But she lives under a glass plate, and there's a wall between us with really a double pane of glass because it's soundproof and all that. But new study, Associated Press, shows 60,000 kids have been spared peanut allergies by feeding them peanuts as babies. Wow, wait a minute. Isn't that amazing? And it turns out we were talking to Vince Colonnese this morning, too, the great, everybody knows Vince Colonnese, talking to great Vince Colonnese about the peanut allergies. And he said, oh, yeah, this is true of bread, too. If you deny kids bread, then you get, what's it called? Celiac? You know that stuff? Yeah, see, when I was a kid, I'm one of 6 brothers raised by a single mother. Nobody had an allergy. There is not an allergy in sight. None of our neighbors had allergies. Nobody had allergies. We weren't allergic to anything. We were allergic to BS, I think. We were allergic to stupid. And there were Democrats back then. There were. But this is an amazing story. A decade after a landmark study proved that feeding peanut products to young babies could prevent development of life-threatening allergies, new research finds the change has made a big difference in the real world. And this has made a big difference in the real world. Isn't that great? So, just great stuff. And if you feed peanuts to kids, then the kids will not be, and this says babies, then the babies will not grow up to be allergic to peanuts. And Michael was telling me when we were talking about it that he's got a 10-year-old boy, Max, great kid, really a great kid, fun kid, and loved jumping off of stuff and crashing into things. He's fun. He's a boy. He's a boy, and he identifies as a boy. Am I right about that? Yeah, I could tell because, the way he loves to, smash things and stuff. So that's good. He's going to grow up to be a man, which is nice, too. But get a lot of memos from school warning everybody to not bring anything peanut-related to the school because other kids might respond badly to things that are peanut-related in school. And now the big study on the Associated Press and NBC fake news out of Washington, D.C. has the story also. And this is from just early this morning, NBC Washington. Guidelines promoting early peanut exposure helped 60,000 kids avoid allergies, study finds. That's what the study found. For decades, doctors had recommended delaying feeding children peanuts and other foods likely to trigger allergies until age 3. And now it turns out the opposite is what they're recommending because, hey, you know what? We've been telling you we're science. We're experts. We're a panel. We're doctors. We've got PhDs. We work on college campuses. We're telling you, don't give the kids peanuts because then they'll become allergic to peanuts if you give them peanuts before the age of 3. And now the exact opposite is being recommended because, they're the party of science. A decade after a landmark study proved that feeding peanut products to young babies could prevent development of life-threatening allergies, a new study, listen to this, finds the change has made a big difference in the real world. About 60,000 children have avoided developing peanut allergies after guidance first issued in 2015 upended medical practice by recommending introducing the allergen, you mean peanuts, to infants starting as early as 4 months. 4 months. I love, I still have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches several days a week. I do. On bread with peanut butter and with jelly. That's really all you need for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So here is Dr. David Hill says, it's a remarkable thing, right? He's an allergist and researcher at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and author of a study published on Monday, that's today, in the medical journal Pediatrics. That has to do with, pediatricians, kids like that. Hill, the doctor, Dr. David Hill and his colleagues analyzed electronic health records from dozens of pediatric practices to track diagnoses of food allergies in young children before, during, and after the guidelines were issued. He said, I can actually come to you today and say there are less kids with food allergies today than there would have been if we hadn't implemented this public health effort. And first of all, doctor, I would say that there are fewer kids. I would say there are fewer kids just semantically and grammatically speaking. I would say today there are fewer kids with food allergies. I wouldn't say less kids with food allergies, but you're the doctor. The researchers found that the peanut allergies in children aged 0 to 3 declined by more than 27% after guidance for high-risk kids was first issued in 2015, and by more than 40% after the recommendations were expanded in 2017. So wait a minute. Go ahead and eat peanuts and peanut butter, and that way you won't become allergic to peanuts and peanut butter. Wow, science. Here we are in the 21st century. I'm dazzled. Isn't that amazing? Must be at Harvard, I think. The effort hasn't been reduced, and the overseas increase in food allergies, this is the NBC Washington 2, the effort hasn't yet reduced an overall increase in food allergies in the U.S. in recent years. About 8% of children are affected, including more than 2% with a peanut allergy. Yeah, but what you just said is that the numbers have been reduced dramatically by doing the opposite of what science was telling us to do for decades. leading to a greater number of peanut allergies, which leads to school shutdowns and lockdowns, and we act like these are biological warfare agents when it's peanuts that somebody opens. You can't have them on an airplane because 8 rows behind you, a 5-year-old thinks that he's allergic to peanuts. Isn't that great? So a peanut allergy is caused when the body's immune system mistakenly identifies protein in peanuts as harmful and releases chemicals that trigger allergic symptoms, including hives, respiratory symptoms, and sometimes life-threatening, anaphylaxia. And isn't that great? So for decades, doctors had recommended delaying feeding children peanuts and other foods likely to trigger allergies until age 3. But in 2015, Gideon Lack at King's College London published the groundbreaking Learning Early About Peanut Allergies, or LEAP. They got to turn everything to Learning Early About Peanut Allergies. So it's LEAP. You have to call it LEAP. So Lack, the professor, and his colleagues showed that introducing peanut products in infancy reduced the future risk of developing food allergies by more than 80%. By more than 80%. Later analysis showed that the protection persisted in about 70% of kids into adolescence. So the study immediately sparked new guidelines urging early introduction of peanuts, but putting them into practice has been slow, naturally, because it's science. Only about 29% of pediatricians and 65% of allergists reported following the expanded guidance issued in 2017, surveys found. And then, surprise, surprise, confusion and uncertainty about the best way to introduce peanuts early in life led to the lag, according to a commentary that accompanied the study. Early on, medical experts and parents alike questioned whether the practice could be adopted outside of tightly controlled clinical settings. So here's the crazy thing. It's what the medical science people have been telling us about this for years and years, for generations, is the opposite of what they will, from this day forward, be recommending. Because science is ever evolving, and somebody needs more money for a new research project that could take years. And guess who's going to pay for it? We are, the American taxpayers, because, that's we're the biggest suckers in the world. Isn't that amazing? Just amazing. Yes, sir. So new data for the analysis came from a subset of participating practice sites and may not represent the entire U.S. pediatric population. Yeah, well, that's why we're going to need another study and another $1 billion, I think. Noted for commentary, led by Dr. Ruchi Gupta, a child allergy expert at Northwestern University. That's Evanston, Illinois, just north of Chicago. My mother went there. However, the new research offers promising evidence that early allergen introduction is not only being adopted, but may be making a measurable impact, the authors concluded. You might say a positive impact. If I were writing it, I'd be more clear. But English is my first language. So advocates for the 33 million people in the United States with food allergies welcome signs the early introduction of peanut products is catching on. So here we go. There you have that. That whole peanut allergy thing. Not what we'd originally thought. Yes, sir. Bop, bop, bop. Yep. They've got a mother here of children introduced peanuts early to her kids, and hey, it's working. Turns out, go ahead, knock yourself out, eat a bunch of peanuts, have a PB&J, be happy. All right, we have returned, and let us go to the telephones. Jasmine has made me aware that we have a very special guest, someone that I know personally. The bride of the great one, Mark Levin. Julie Levin is on the line. Julie, you called into my radio show.
I did. Good morning. How are you?
That's so great. It's wonderful. Great to hear your voice. How may I be of use to you?
Well, your commentary this morning about peanut allergies is so spot on. So in Israel, there is one of the lowest incidents of peanut allergies in the world. And why is that, Chris? Because moms introduce their babies to this treat called Bamba. So it kind of looks like a Cheeto, but it's softer and it melts in your mouth, and it's peanut butter flavor. They use peanut butter powder, and it's the way often they transition babies from milk to food. And so by getting Bambas early in their life, that does exactly what you said on this recent study. And here's a good tip for moms here. You don't have to go all the way to Israel, although I do highly recommend it. It's an amazing place. Trader Joe's sells Bamba, so you can get it there. And honestly, Trader Joe's did not pay me to make this call. But it's
Nor did Bombas.
It's really, really delicious. I'm telling you, like, you don't have to be a 4-month-old to enjoy it. I love Bamba. I just try to stay away from the calories, but it is so delicious. I'm telling you, if you go, you need to call me and tell me how much you love Bamba, because it's really delicious.
That is a riot. That is a hoot. And I'm very happy that you called in with this information, too. And I love Israel. My best girl and I, we love Israel. Don't know nothing about Bambas, but never been allergic to anything.
Well, and peanut butter is truly the staple of life. Honestly, like right out of the jar, all natural, crunchy is the way to go, in my personal opinion. But hey, it's okay. Mark loves peanut butter and jelly. He's with you, and he has to have it on white bread, which to me is like bad news because I'm mishealthy, as you know. I know. Anyway, there you go. There you go. That's my PSA for the day for everybody.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Service announcement.
I didn't know anything about it, and I'm very happy. This is Julie Levin, the loving bride of Mark Levin, the great one. So happy you called in, Julie. Fun call. Thank you.